The third Geats Rider to hit SH Figuarts, Tycoon, has arrived.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and today we're looking at the SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Tycoon ninja form from Kamen Rider Geats. He is the third Geats Figuart I've picked up. He was also a Premium Bandai exclusive and was available on Premium Bandai US for pre-orders. So here he is, kind of standard box that we expect at this point. You can see Ninja Form Tycoon, you can also see Ninja Form Geats here, and then Entry Form Tycoon if you have the Entry Form figure, which I don't. But let's take a look at Tycoon and, of course, compare him and form swap him and all that other good stuff that we normally do with the Geats Figuarts. So here he is, Kamen Rider Tycoon Ninja Form, Sakurai Keiwa. He looks pretty cool. Much like with a lot of the Geats Riders, the bottom half doesn't have a lot going on, but Tycoon does have his unique item. With Geats, it's a scarf. With Buffa, it's a skirt. With Tycoon, it is a leg wrap, which also means if you want to use any of the other legs that you have for the Geats Figuarts, it's not going to look right on Keiwa here because they won't have the leg band. Part of the problem with the Geats Figuarts is that they're very modular, but they're very modular to making Geats great. So let's focus up here at the top. So we have his Ninja Form buckle in place, of course. So he's got really cool green and red armor, nice silver accents as well. It thematically works with his head design, which I think is really, really cool. Much like the other Geats Figuarts, you still have the driver that does rotate. It's the same mold, approximately, we'll talk about that in a moment, as the others. And of course, you can remove the ninja buckle itself from the driver so you can place whichever buckle you want on there. Now, what's also really cool is just like the actual deluxe toy and in the show, the little ninja star on the buckle does spin, which is kind of a crazy little detail there that you can actually turn it and rotate it on that little axis. It pulls out just a little bit, so you can turn it, and if you pull it, it just comes completely out. But the fact they included that little detail is really, really cool. Speaking of throwing star designs, on his elbows, there are also these other ones that do turn. And the other part that's really kind of interesting with this guy is that these are incredibly sharp and pointy, and it kind of, I wish they were a little bit duller because they're very, very sharp. So when you're kind of handling the figure, you can end up just kind of squeezing his elbow between your two fingers. It's going to hurt a little bit, which is kind of a bummer. But you got that going on. I don't think they remove. Oh, they do remove. Yeah, if you pull them, they do remove. So when you're probably swapping torsos, I'd recommend taking those off so you don't just injure yourself. And speaking of injury, he has a very nice looking head up here, which I think looks terrific. It's got the kind of tanuki look to it, the red eyes and the green jaw. But all the points on the back of it here are also very sharp. So be very careful when handling this guy. You know, you think Buffa would be the sharp one. He certainly has the sharp personality. But Tycoon is actually the pointiest out of all the Geats Figuarts so far. But you can see the back there as well. So pretty cool. I think the overall silhouette is really good. I think just like with pretty much all the Geats Figuarts, they look really solid. And I just in general do like the way Tycoon turns out. So for articulation, I'm going to remove these ninja stars just so I don't like hurt myself by accident. But essentially, we got the standard range of motion. Let's see if any of it is impeded. So he's got the ball joint neck, so he can turn, of course, left and right and pivot all the way down. He does have that bottom neck, but it doesn't really do anything because his chin's just going to run into that front part. Shoulders move up. Shoulder pads get out of the way. 360. Bicep swivel. This is also on a ball joint. You get a double joint elbow. Doesn't go super far. It only goes just beyond 90. Even if we engage both elbow joints, that top elbow joint really isn't doing much there, just because of the collision of the design. Then he's got the wrists, which are also a little bit weird, just like the others because of the wrist guards. Then we've got upper torso ball joint, lower torso ball joint, and some movement up and down. You can also notice that my copy has some weird scratches right there. There was plastic holding it between the driver, but mine does have a little bit of weird scratch for whatever reason. Then the hips, they move out like this, and you can see there's covering to keep the joint clean. Forward, a little bit back, a thigh swivel, a double jointed knee. Angle that pivots forward, back, left, right, and a toe joint. So the standard articulation for this ninja boy. But of course, what is articulation without accessories? Let's look at his hand options. So his default hands are these relaxed hands with a bit of a point to them. He also comes with the prerequisite set of fists. He also comes with these open hands that have a little more personality to them. and those are great for holding buckles if you want to have them inserting it into the driver. He also comes with traditional 2-finger ninja hands. And then he comes with these open grip hands that can hold any of the weapons, but more specifically, the Ninja Dueler, which is a unique weapon for ninja form. So what's cool about this is that you do have, of course, his main weapon, and much like with the Buffa Zombie Breaker, but unlike the Magnum, which only had one form, you can split this into 2 parts. First of all, you can spin the actual disc to activate the finisher, and then you can split it into the 2 different bladed forms that he has. And what's really cool about this is it does easily clip into both hands, though I do think I got that backwards. There we go. That's a bit more like Kawa. So what's really cool is that you do have the 2-blade option and the single blade option as one accessory, but I do notice that the handle, I don't know if it's the handle or the hand grip, this does like to slip easily. Not so much this one. This one's pretty secure. The larger blade does have a tendency to slip. You may also notice these pegs sticking out here. Yeah, you can actually store these on the belt, much like how the Magnum shooter, I showed that off in the Geats video. You can plug them on here. It is just very awkward because the actual side plates don't rotate. The actual plugs are good. Like, he can actually stand there a little bit awkwardly, but he can still stand there with both of these holstered. Once you line it up like this, there you go. So once you line it up, you can actually have them holstered, which he doesn't really do in the show. In fact, most of the characters don't holster their weapons unless they're using another weapon. And yeah, it's very rare this actually happened, if it ever did, but the option is available. And I did forget to mention on my Buffa review that you can do that with Buffa, but his actually has a bit of a rotation, but you can actually move this back and forth a little bit, so it actually has some rotation. I do wish it kind of had that here, because I think it would look really cool with these rotated back, so they're not just so straight on the leg. But yeah, weapon storage is available on all of them, but yeah, I did forget to show it in the Buffa review, probably because he never uses that anyways. So here is Tycoon with Buffa and Geats, the 3 Geats Riders I have so far. It will be really nice to get Nago to kind of round out the main cast of the show, but they look really great together. They really do. I do think that, you know, Geats is showing everybody up a little bit with his leg armor here, but in general, I do like the way they look, and they are very accurate to how the series portrayed these base forms, and I think it just looks really nice overall. All right, let's do some form swapping. So much like the other Geats Figuarts, you can form swap. You just can't do it well. So for example, with Geats, he's going to get stuff specifically included in the box to make ninja form look good on Geats and accurate, whereas Tycoon is not going to get anything from Magnum or Boost or Zombie. So let's take a look. First things first, if you want to swap the boost legs from Magnum Boost Geats over to Tycoon, that is legally an option. It just doesn't look quite right because when Tycoon uses boost in the series, he has that little leg band on him, which you can't transfer over. But honestly, if you wanted to do this, it's not going to look that bad. I mean, look at it. It looks like Ninja Boost Tycoon. Not a big deal. Now, if you do want to do the entry form for Tycoon, you're going to need the entry form Geats figure, which I don't own, and that is going to require some head swapping. So we're going to pop his head off here. Now, with Tycoon versus Geats and Buffa, Geats and Buffa had a system where you pull the front faceplate off and then the eye part comes out. But because of the design for Tycoon, you just get a whole one chunk piece. So it's going to be tough for customizing if you're going to be doing that. But you do get this blank eyes, and then the mouth plate also removes off of the Tycoon head. And you can put the blank mouth plate on, you can put the blank eyes on, and then now you've got your Tycoon, and then you got his legs, and you got his belt. And if you have the entry form torso from the entry form Geats figure, you'll be able to kind of like make an entry form Tycoon. Cool. I don't ever need to do that. But now we're going to go and put the ninja armor on Geats. So we're going to take, let's see where we're at. We're going to take Magnum off. We'll put Boost back on because we're going to use the Boost legs here. We'll put Ninja on the Geats belt. Then we're going to take Geats himself. We're going to pop his head off. We're going to come around here and remove his scarf because the scarf does transfer. It's the only one of the specialty parts that does. So then we'll come around here. We'll be careful of the pointy bits. Pop that off. We will line up, plug the scarf on, put the plate back on, the usual. Then we'll take apart Geats' head here, removing his faceplate, removing his eye plate, put in the new red eye plate that is included with Tycoon, and then swap out the mouth plate here for the Ninja mouth plate that came again with Tycoon. So it comes with a extra eye plate and mouth plate for Geats, which is specifically to make Geats go ninja more accurately, which we can do here. So let's pop his head on, if it'll pop on. There we go. Line up the belt, line up the boost legs, and there you go. Now you got Ninja Boost Kamen Rider Geats, which looks pretty cool. I think that's a pretty slick transformation. I think the color scheme works really well with the boost legs, though the white of the Geats head does stand out a little bit. It isn't his like default form. It's not his like power-up form there, but it does look really nice, which I think is really cool. Now, if you do want to do a Magnum Tycoon, you're going to have to just kind of deal with the parts you got, because if we take the Magnum jaw from Geats and plug it onto Tycoon, it sort of fits, but not really. And I apologize, the camera went out of focus. I just lost it. So if you take the Magnum jaw from Geats and put it on Tycoon, it doesn't really fit the groove completely. And if you you have to use the ninja eyes because there's just no orange eyes option. It holds. It doesn't look quite right, but it does hold. So if you wanted to pop this on, if you can. Does it even fit? There we go. Head on. We can put the Magnum buckle on the belt. Slide that over there, and we can plug that on. So if you ignore the fact that he's got red eyes instead of orange eyes, there's your Magnum Tycoon, which I don't think ever happened. I don't remember Tycoon using Magnum. I just, the show just ended. I don't remember every detail, but you can see, yeah, he's got that option. So now the question becomes, if we can put Ninja on Geats and Magnum on Tycoon, can we put Zombie on Tycoon? And can we put Ninja on Buffa? All right, I've gone to the liberty to just tear them all apart so that way we can put them together. So what we're going to try to do is put Ninja on Buffa and Zombie on Tycoon. Again, we're not going to have to worry about the eye plate thing because it's just going to be what it is. But let's see what we can do otherwise. Let's take, we'll put Buffa with Ninja. So we'll get that plugged on there. Let's get the torso attached. So we're going to use the Buffa legs with the skirt and the belt. There we go. So that's on. I mean, that fits. It's not like the skirt is interrupting the ninja torso. Let's just see. So if we put the ninja jaw for Geats onto Buffa, that one is an almost perfect fit because Geats and Buffa have the same like general jaw shape. Once again, we have to kind of just go with the eye plate as it is because there is no red eyes for Buffa. But once we do that, we can put that on here. Boom. You know what? Buffa Ninja, not bad. We'll pose them in a moment here. Let's take Tycoon. Let's see. Can we fit the zombie jaw? Yep, the zombie jaw fits. We'll put this over like that. There we go. It doesn't fall out. There's that gap, but it does sort of work. So I'm glad to see that even if these things aren't going to be 100% accurate on form swapping, you can get like 90% of the way there. Same with the legs. I make a deal about the skirt or the piece. If you just wanted to boost legs, you could just put boost legs on. They do give you options here, and I'm glad to see that the jaws do fit because that was my one concern. But yeah, there's Tycoon Zombie. So why the eye colors don't match? You can do Tycoon Zombie and Buffa Ninja close enough. The only thing is the eye color. Everything else is accurate here, which I think is really cool. So there is options. They only advertise swapping to Geats, but you really can do other characters, which is nice to see. It'd also be nice to see how the compatibility is with Monster and Beat when we get Punk Jack, because those will be two more armors that we can swap between the guys. And it does look like, it will look more natural, of course, with the proper eye colors, but if you ignore that detail, you can have all kinds of fun swapping these parts around. So in general, Kamen Rider Tycoon Ninja Form is a great SH Figuarts release to add to the Geats lineup. I do think, though, that he has less form swapping potential because you don't get any of the unique pieces to make him like an accurate version. Like, we could get accurate Magnum Buffa, but we can't get really accurate Tycoon besides Entry and Ninja, but that doesn't dissuade from the fact he's a really great figure. Outside of the pointy bits, specifically those stars, my fingers are hurting pretty bad from those, and on the head, he is a really nice figure to pose overall, and he's very accurate to the series he comes from. So in general, I do recommend picking him up. He was a premium Bandai exclusive, so good luck finding him on the aftermarket if you can. I will be doing a couple more Geats reviews. I may not be doing every single figure of this line like I had originally intended, but I am definitely getting Nago and Punkjack, so you want to stay tuned for those, and hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on a video. Hit the like button while you're down there, and leave a comment down below telling me anything I may have missed or questions you may have had about this figure. Also, check out my live streams Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern here on this YouTube channel, and you can find our Discord server in the link below at the Soundout Discord protocol to discuss Kamen Rider and many other things. You can also find me on social media if you wish, at Soundout12, and you can find my awesome graphic designer in the Discord at DarkClaw643, as well as on social media. You can also find Hero Club at hero-club.com for tokusatsu news and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.